Hi, my name is Steve Altman, and I'm here to talk to you about our personal video for our EDL 856 Modular 1. A little bit about myself is I am married. I was married on July 7th, 2020, 2007. So if anybody doesn't pick up on that, it's 070707. That way I'll never forget my anniversary. It was kind of a good way it worked out for my wife and I. We have three boys. Gabe is 11, Luke is 9, and Mathen is 5. I'm pretty religious. I'm a Christian. I attend church at New Spring Church in Wichita, Kansas. I live in El Dorado, Kansas, so it's kind of close by for us. Currently at work as the lead teacher at an alternative day school in Butler County. Um, Previous work, I was a special ed teacher for K through eighth grades. Um, some of my hobbies that I like to do is I'm a 4-H club leader. All three of my boys are involved in showing pigs and livestock and cattle and stuff. And so, next slide is a picture of my wife and I at a wedding together. And then these next are my boys. Gabe's up there in the top left. Luke is down there in the middle with his cow. And then my youngest over there, Matt, and he's playing lifeguard at the city pool that I manage during the summer. That's a way that we all know that teachers are doing other things to make money, and that's the way that I do mine. Is I manage the pool in El Dorado as well. So that's just some of the things that keep us busy. So now hopping right into our stuff, some forms of communication that our articles talked about was digital communication is one that I find in schools a lot. There's all sorts of various types: social media, text messages, phone calls, emails, even the old personal old snail mail. Um, the social media ones that are used within some classrooms that I know of or I've seen with my kids, or I've been involved in some classrooms that had those things in the past, um, is Dojo. Remind is an app that does it. Facebook with Facebook Messenger and stuff like that. Google Classroom is a huge thing that's getting pushed a lot now, especially since our pandemic has happened and stuff like that. So it's been a huge difference and pushed out a lot more than there was regards. Snapchat and Instagram. I used to coach high school basketball, and as the head basketball coach, I found that the best way to get a hold of high schoolers was through Snapchat. They couldn't even tell me their phone numbers, but they could tell me their Snapchat handle name. So we did a lot of group messaging through Snapchat just to kind of make sure we're all getting on the same page. So it's crazy. Some of those things you have to really base who you're talking to and what you're doing with around what kind of communication you have. So some of the traditional ways, phone calls are there's no confusion on tone or context, so it's a little bit easier to make and have good conversations and good introductions with people that way, but they're difficult to do in the moment. So like if you have a kid who needs to that you need to talk to somebody about or you need to do, it's hard to find time in that moment while you're teaching in a classroom to go make a phone call. Text messages they're quick, easy to send. You can do that while still talking and being in the same room with some kids that you're talking about or talking to some parents about or whatever. But they're harder to understand the emotion of. So like if you're really trying to be true and honest and it comes off as sarcastic, it's harder to read in those type of situations. It's the same thing with emails. It's harder to read that tone and context out of an email, but they're pretty easy to do too. It's convenient to sit and type up an email real fast and send something off. Mailing stuff is some of the slowest forms of communication, and most of my educational career I've been in special ed, so we've had a lot of extra paperwork that we go through and things of that nature. So with that being the case, mailing is a good option. But this year, we've also started using an Adobe Sign uh, platform through some software that we've got that we've used a lot of emails with because we haven't had as many IEP meetings in person and haven't had as much paperwork done via snail mail or in-person stuff. So we've done a lot more Zooms and Google Hangouts and things of that nature. So technology has really transformed a lot of our communication ways and needs in the past few years. So something to always think about as well. What I found interesting about our articles is it comes out with some personal professional introductions, things you need to do. This year, I introduced myself to new staff here as their lead teacher, and we don't have a principal per se in the building every day, so a lot of that comes and falls on my shoulders. So I was the one that set up our in service at the beginning of the year. So um, really tried to be opening up about something that you can be relatable about with your staff when you make those first introductions was something I really tried to do. Being specific about small details because then they can tell that you really are being genuine and care rather than just having some random thoughts that they don't know enough about. Like 4-H is a good example. With some of my staff was not really well known in agriculture, and those areas are a little harder to relate to. So if you give them good details about stuff, there's easier for them to find pieces of it that they might think about. being compatible, make that easy connection for people to make a way to be can make that connection with you. Give them a story, something that's worth liking about you. But when you're telling that story, don't be mundane and drag it out. Keep it upbeat and moving along. Don't take forever. That first impression is supposed to be quick for a reason, not for not drawn out and long. And give positive body language, eye contact, and show that you care, that you're listening to what they're saying and what they're doing. Another thing that I thought that I really liked about them, some different methods of doing that, was be honest and show who you are and your personality, whatever that may be. Find ways to relate to your staff if you're talking to new people. Give good details about yourself, so there's not as much guessing and second guessing about who you are and what you're doing. Find common goals for the building was a thing that I thought was important, because then you can find ways to make sure you're coming up with things that are important to them as well, and you can hang your hat on some of those things when things get tougher or you find times that you're not all getting along and having all the same things. Listen a lot more than you talk. That's why you got two ears and one mouth. So use your ears and listen to other people, and then you can find positive things to say about them that correlate to what they're talking about as well. Those are things that I think make a huge impact on how your first impressions go when you make your introduction to other people. Some of our district policies that we have on communication is we use a software called One Call Now. It's pretty quick and easy and convenient for me or for anyone at the district level to get good information out to others about what's going on and what's happening within our school district, within our school programs. So if we had like a snow day, or if we had a day where, oh, there's a gas leak or the water pressure wasn't very well good here, I just type up or send one thing through this software and it goes out to everybody and the preferred method of their choice. It could be a text, could be a phone call, could be an email. It all just comes off as an automated email or phone call or text based off what I type in or whatever gets sent to them. On a daily use, we use communication to talk to our staff, our parents and stuff. But because we're an alternative day school, there's only like 32 kids in our whole school building. So each teacher is responsible for about 5 to 6 kids. So we don't have a whole lot of need for mass communications or use of social media or things like that, just because we're not in those large numbers. It's very personal and easy to make 5 or 6 phone calls or text messages a day or a night or a week even. Um, and our staff uses emails for important documents, like we were talking about the Adobe sign earlier. Those are all things that we do within our district here. Some of the correlations that I found for our standard here was that it was between learning objectives, is by the 3 articles reviewed and gave great summaries of information in our slides. That was the way we kind of did all of that to correlate to our learning objective. It also gave us a reflection of how we communicate within our schools, our districts, and our communities. Sometimes I don't think we all think about all those things until we're actually put in this position where go list out some of the different types of social media that you might use or how you talk to some parents or what happens in those regards. That all is kind of coming out now a little bit more as we get putting it on paper like this. The relevancy of this is that it gave us opportunities to introduce ourselves into more leadership roles and our schools, and it gave us a good chance to make sure that we understood the importance of engaging our community and getting everyone on the same page with different types of communications. And that could be from a district level, could be from a teacher level, could be from a classroom level, even at that matter. So, or even to each kid individually in that level. So, those are always things that are important. And making that first impression that's lasting and positive is always a plus. My personal reflection on this is that I wish I had done this a little bit earlier. This class would have came. I'd taken this class first semester. Maybe I'd had a better introduction to my new staff this year. But um, I think it's something that I can continue to work on and grow. And it just shows that there's a whole lots of different communication needs. But everyone has those needs, but how they're fulfilled is different within each community, and how each one of us has kind of demonstrated that with our videos and what kind of things we've spun from our own districts or what we've done in the past as educators communicating with our families and parents and communities. It's all been different, and some of those are different because of some limitations put on us by our districts. Some of it's different because of just the different areas we live in. Like if you live in a rural Kansas or rural area, maybe sending Snapchats and Instagrams aren't the best because internet access is a little lower and not as easy. So you might be sending more things through phone calls or talking more through phone calls or maybe even paper pencil things like newsletters and notes that go home with students. So I just wish everyone the best of luck this semester, and it's great meeting everyone. Thanks.